Hello and welcome to my video, all about how to do the long tail cast on using the thumb method. Apparently this method is favoured by English style knitters, however I'm an English style knitter and it was only fairly recently that I learned about this technique. The other method, which is an alternative to this one, is the slingshot method, which you can see me demonstrating here. This is a technique that I personally use and I have videos all about it if you want to learn more. It's really just personal preference whether you do the slingshot method or the thumb method because the result is the same. Right, so since this is a long tail cast on, you first need to estimate how long the yarn tail needs to be. I personally either wrap the yarn once around the needle per stitch I want to cast on and then add 12 inches, or I measure 3.5 times the width of the knitting project I'm going to make. At this point on the yarn, you then need to tie a slip knot, like so. Place that slip knot on your needle and tighten. Note that when doing this method, you're going to want the ball of yarn to your right and the yarn tail to your left. Alternatively, if you don't want to use a slip knot, you can avoid this step and instead get straight into doing the thumb method. So make sure the working yarn is on the right and the yarn tail is on the left. Then place your needle on top of the yarn at the point where you would have put a slip knot. Then take hold of the yarn tail with your fingers on your left hand and wrap your thumb around the yarn like this, from back to front. Take the needle up through the loop around your thumb. Hold the needle with your left hand. Wrap the working yarn around the needle point like you're going to do a knit stitch. Hold the needle with your right hand, then take the loop over the top of the point and tighten. And that's it, you've now cast on your first stitch. If you used a slip knot instead, then that would count as your first stitch and this would be your second. You now just repeat this method to cast on as many stitches as you like. So hold the yarn tail with your left hand and wrap your thumb around from back to front. Then take the needle up through the loop around your thumb. Wrap the working yarn as if to knit. Then take the loop around your thumb over the point and tighten. And repeat. So take the needle up through the loop, wrap the working yarn around the needle point, take the thumb loop over the point and tighten. And so on. And that's it, that's the standard knitwise way of doing the long tail cast on using the thumb method. As you can see, you can go quite quickly when you get the hang of it. If you now take a closer look at the cast on edge that you've made already, you can see that the side that's facing you is made up of little diagonal strands of yarn, which is referred to as the smooth side. The other side is referred to as the bumpy side and is made up of purl bumps. This is exactly the same result as you would get if you were doing the slingshot method instead. Right, so that's the standard knitwise version of this thumb method covered. And now I'm going to demonstrate the Purlwise method. This is very similar, but there are a couple of changes to make. The first change is that you need to bring the working yarn in front of the needle towards you, like so. You then need to take your needle down through the loop around your thumb, rather than up through the loop. Then wrap the working yarn around the needle point as if you were doing a purl stitch. And then bring the loop of yarn over the needle point, this time from back to front. And tighten. And now you've done one purlwise cast on stitch. As you can see, there's now a little purl bump on this side. And then you just need to do that over and over. So again, you take your needle down through the loop around your thumb, wrap the working yarn around the needle as if you were doing a purl stitch, then bring the loop of yarn over the needle point and tighten. And then you just repeat. So take the needle down through the loop around your thumb, wrap the working yarn as if to purl, then bring the loop of yarn over the needle point and tighten. And just keep repeating that as many times as you wish. If you take a closer look at this cast on edge, you'll see that it's now the bumpy side facing towards you, and it's the smooth side facing away from you, i.e. it's the reverse of the knitwise long tail cast on. As you can see, I then knit a block of stockinette stitch above where I did the knitwise cast on, and I knit a block of garter stitch above where I did the purlwise cast on. Hopefully this will give you some idea about why it's handy to know how to do the knitwise and purlwise versions. It allows you to choose whether you want the smooth side or the bumpy side or both on the right side of your knitting. And that means you can choose what edge will look best alongside your knitting pattern. And that's it, that's how you do the thumb method of the long tail cast on. I really hope you found this useful and thank you very much for watching.